Well, it's been 20 years. We have grown a lot, we have changed a lot in the society. I remember sitting on our first board for planning financial matters, and Ted will remember this. We would calculate our fixed costs for the year, our heating costs, our hydro, and all the other things that come along. Would you believe that 20 years ago, it was $2,500 a year? That's what it cost us to operate that facility. Today it costs us, just the facility alone, $25,000. That's the difference in 20 years. It takes a lot of money and a lot of energy and a lot of creative planning to keep it all going. Today our budget is almost $70,000 to operate the Backus-Page Tyrconnell Heritage Society. So it's not a small task. Part of that growth was due to presidents. The presidents had a huge influence in the development of the society at all different stages and different levels. And every single president that went through the Tyrconnell Heritage Society had a very unique and special role. They had a different purpose, and they had a different objective that they had to accomplish within their time of responsibility. And that has had a huge impact on Backus-Page. So this evening I want to honor our presidents. I want to mention first of all Barry Phelps, who was our first chairman. I don't think he was our actual president in the time of the corporation. I believe Ann Lilly was at the time. But Barry Phelps had a huge responsibility, or he was a huge driver in the initiation of Tyrconnell Heritage Society. And then there's Ann Lilly. Ann Lilly did so much work politically for our society. She had all the political connections. She knew how to manipulate the political connections. And she was very, very good at it. We loved her dearly for it because she knew exactly what to do. Then there was myself. I had a number of years, as Trish mentioned, at different times being president at Backus-Page. And much of my role was in maintaining the historic standards of the home. I still believe that today. I still believe that's why we're here. We have to totally uphold the historic standards of the home, or we've lost our focus as a museum. The next one would be J.B. Littlejohn. Huge instrumental part in the Backus-Page. His presence, his commitment to the community, his commitment to the local Tyrconnell, which, because his home is directly related to Stephen Backus, which he has deep historic roots in our community, and he was very instrumental as well. Then there was Lita West. Lita West was a policies and procedures person. She helped the society strengthen itself in policy and maintaining a structure that was relevant to the government standards. And we're so thankful that Lita still helps out today, not on the board, but on the level of whenever I can help, I will help and I will be there, as you have seen again tonight. And then Angela Bovier. Angela had a very short time as president and then ended up being our employee, and we're very proud of the work that Angela does. Her energy and her commitment to Backus-Page goes without notice, and in the future, Backus-Page presidents will need to carry this forward in a very special way. So at this time, I'm going to ask Ann Lilly to come forward, and I'm sure she has stories to tell of Backus-Page.
Okay, thanks Henry for that introduction. I feel very, I don't know what to say really. I never expected that there would be any reward like this. But we had quite a charm when we first started with the Backus-Page House, because we didn't think we really had a chance of being able to maintain the house in future years. But we had a very good M&R person, Henry Vaughs, and he did a lot to make sure that the organization that we were trying to bring about would get the home, because he felt that it was something in our area that needed to be as well, because we had so much history that he felt that it was something that we should really expand upon. And so, along with the people that worked endlessly to make it happen, we finally did get it to be ours for a period of, I believe it was 50 years, was it not, Henry?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, I'm getting older too. It seems that I thought that still was in my mind, but wasn't certain. But there's a lot of people, and I don't know how to mention them all, that worked so hard throughout the years to make this all come forward the way it has. And I don't want to be here talking about it for hours, but there's a lot of recognition in this audience that the people know who they are, and they did really work hard to make sure that everything came as it is. And I want to express congratulations to all that worked in the past, the present, and the future for the implementation of all this history that we have in this area, and make sure that it continues. So with that, I know we're going to have a good evening here tonight, and that's all I'd like to say.
Thank you so much,
this
Ann.
time.
It's so good to see you, and I can't reiterate enough how much work this woman did. She was unbelievable, and we wouldn't be here this evening if her perseverance or persistence hadn't kept on going at that time. So thank you so much, Ann. You are highly commended amongst the society. I believe the board members will know this, when how many times haven't I said in our board meeting, you always have to remember what your past people have done for you. They are so instrumental. They set the tone for Backus-Page Museum and the purpose and the vision, and it's our responsibility today to keep that vision moving forward in as best we can. And the circumstances and times change, we all know that, but the vision has to be the same, and it's to preserve the history and the environments of the Backus-Page. The very first vision statement that we wrote 20 years ago is still in place today. So thank you so much for that. So many other great people. I'm going to have Lita come forward. One person I will recognize this evening, one of our secretaries, and that's Ruth White, and I don't believe she's here this evening. I'm really sad by that, but Ruth was so instrumental as a secretary and helped us for so many years. But I did want to make mention of Ruth tonight.
All right. It would be remiss if gathering tonight we did not remember those who have been great supporters through the Cultural Center of Backus-Page House and here in Dunwich, as we know it today, and Western Elgin. And we're here celebrating that local history in the heart of the Talbot settlement. Let us recall the names of those steadfast supporters who are now deceased, and we celebrate their gifts of time, their talents, and their leadership. Henry's already mentioned Barry Phelps as being the first chairman, and Barry passed away a few years back. Another board member who did a lot of work for the society was Florence Gilbert. Florence used to telephone board members This was before the days of the emails, when their meetings were coming up. And so Florence was the one who made all the contacts. Mary Jane Stevenson wrote the first Constitution. And Reverend Anna Berwick was a board member, and she was able to help keep the tie between St. Peter's Anglican Church and the Tyrconnell Heritage Society as minister at St. Peter's. And then we recognize Eileen Hull. Eileen was a board member, and she loved to garden, and she did a lot of outdoor work in keeping the grounds going and having them look spectacular. We also remember Jeannie Gowleach, another board member, who so many times organized the barbecues and had all the food and the supplies ready for when the people would come for events, and barbecuing was one of the things she helped with. And the last that I want to bring back to mind is Alice Patterson from Rodney. Alice served as treasurer of the board for many, many a year. And not only did she act as treasurer, but whenever there were events going on, when there would be students coming through or groups, and if there was ever any need, she loved to play the part of the original settler, Mary Story. Mary Story, a widow who came to the settlement, and upon whose land grant from Colonel Tollett, the site for Backus-Page now stands, as well as that of St. Peter's Church and the cemetery. And Alice loved to portray the part of Mary's story. These are the group whom we remember tonight, who were steadfast supporters, who did a lot over these past 20 years in helping the Tyrconnell Heritage Society.